This marriage pact may look like a political loophole, but it's not what you think. Because on the alien world of Altair, a single union can rewrite treaties, bend the laws of war, and change the fate of entire planets. When a human recon soldier was captured by an alien empire, everyone thought his story would end in an execution chamber. But one ancient law changed everything. A 200-year-old alien queen invoked her right of clemency, offering him marriage instead of death. What started as a desperate act of survival soon turned into a bond that no one, human or alien, could ever have predicted. If the human refused the marriage, he wouldn't just die. His execution would break the fragile peace between Earth and the Altair Dominion. Billions of lives across both worlds would be thrown into chaos. Colonies would burn, fleets would fall, and two great civilizations would descend into endless war. But if he accepted, he'd be bound forever to a being who had once led armies against his people. A queen older than any human alive, with secrets powerful enough to shatter the balance of the galaxy. One choice. Two outcomes, life or annihilation, love or extinction, and no one expected what came next. Adam Steele was a reconnaissance specialist from Earth, trained to survive in the most hostile zones of the galaxy. But nothing prepared him for this. His stealth craft malfunctioned near the alien planet Altair 4, and within minutes, he was captured by the Dominion's patrol forces. Shackled and bruised, he stood before a council of towering, blue-skinned officials. Their silver eyes gleamed like blades as they listed his crimes: espionage, trespassing, violation of interspecies law. The sentence was simple: death by neural dissolution, a process so painful that most didn't survive long enough to scream. Adam tried to stay calm, but the truth hit hard. If he died here, Earth's peace treaty with the Altair Dominion would collapse, and then humanity's colonies on Proxima Centauri would be open to invasion. The aliens knew that. They wanted a reaction. But before the sentence was carried out, a voice echoed across the hall, calm, sharp, and commanding. "I invoke the right of clemency," it said. Every guard froze. From the shadows, an alien woman emerged. Her silver skin shimmered faintly under the light, her uniform bearing the marks of a general. General Valara, a living legend, 2 centuries old, known across galaxies for her ruthless victories. She looked at Adam as though studying a puzzle. "I claim this human," she declared. "Through formal union," the officials murmured in shock. Adam blinked. "Union? You mean marriage?" Valara nodded. "Under Altair law, it spares your life. Refuse, and you die." Adam accepted the marriage, though every part of him screamed against it. The ceremony was short and emotionless, more like a contract signing than a wedding. Soon after, Valara brought him to her estate, a fortress of smooth stone and living metal perched above silver forests. It wasn't what he expected. No guards, no servants, just silence. "This will be your home," she said, her tone cold and distant. "You may move freely, but you cannot leave the planet." Adam's jaw tightened. He wasn't a husband. He was a hostage. Still, he couldn't help noticing the strange human relics scattered around her home: a compass, a book, an old Earth coin. Why would a warlord keep these things? That night he tried to escape. But the ground itself betrayed him. The soil turned to liquid, gripping his legs like quicksand. Valara appeared behind him, calm as ever. "Reactive terrain," she said. "It responds to foreign biology." When she pulled him free, her touch was warm, surprisingly human. "Why live here alone?" he demanded. "Because," she said quietly, "they fear me." For the first time, Adam saw something behind her hard stare. Not arrogance, loneliness. Days passed. Their cold silence began to crack. Valara offered him a deal. She would teach him Altair customs, and in return he would share what he knew of human strategy. "One truth for one truth," she said. What began as strategy lessons soon became something deeper. She admired how humans adapted under pressure. He admired her discipline and sharp mind. But everything changed when the Lunar Convergence Festival arrived. As her husband, Adam had to attend. The ritual required partners to perform the bond dance, a sacred tradition meant to align two life forces. Under the light of 3 moons, they danced, and something happened. Sparks of energy leapt between them. Their movements synced perfectly, and a strange connection formed, pulsing with shared thought and emotion. It wasn't just ceremony anymore. When the night ended, Valara's guard was gone, and for the first time she looked human. The next morning, Adam woke with silver markings on his skin, matching hers. Their bond had become real, but their union sparked outrage across the Dominion. Her enemies called it contamination. The council accused her of treason. To save them both, Adam challenged the accusation, offering a public test, a tactical simulation. Together, he and Valara fought side by side, blending human unpredictability with alien precision. They won, and exposed their accusers' corruption in the process. In the end, the council didn't just pardon them. They recognized their marriage and offered Valara command of a new mission, a diplomatic bridge between Earth and Altair. On a balcony overlooking the alien horizon, Adam turned to her and said softly, "When I was forced into this, I thought it was the end of my life. But maybe it was just the beginning." Valara smiled faintly, the light catching her silver eyes. "Perhaps," she said, "two species had to risk everything to remember what connection really means. And so, a contract born of fear became the first bond of peace, between a man who refused to die and a queen who refused to be alone." The peace between Adam and Valara didn't last long. News of their bond spread like wildfire across the Dominion. Many saw it as blasphemy, a general binding herself to a human, one of the so-called lesser species. Soon the council summoned them both. The chamber was enormous, its walls pulsing faintly with energy. Administrator Krell, Valara's longtime rival, stood waiting, his thin lips curled in triumph. "General Valara," he began, "you stand accused of corruption, unlawful union, and contamination by human influence." He turned his cold gaze on Adam. "And you, human, have infected one of our greatest leaders." Valara stayed calm, but her voice carried power. "By your own laws, I did nothing illegal. The right of clemency allows such unions." "Yes," Krell replied, "but it doesn't protect you from disgrace." He raised a hand, revealing holographic evidence of her secret collection of human artifacts, and worse, scans from the bond ritual that showed their life forces had partially merged. The council gasped. "Proof," Krell declared, "that this human has altered her very biology." Adam stepped forward. His heart pounded, but he spoke clearly. "You call this contamination. I call it connection. She saved my life when she could have ended it. And now that bond between us is the proof that humans and Altairians aren't enemies. We're compatible." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Krell sneered. "Compatibility? Ridiculous. You are an infection." Adam's voice rose, steady but fierce. "No, this is evolution." "You fear what you don't understand. You fear change." He rolled up his sleeve, revealing the glowing silver markings that matched Valara's. "Look at this. We're different species, but our bond created something new. Isn't that what progress looks like?" The lead counselor leaned forward, intrigued. Valara took the moment. "Allow us a test," she said. "A tactical simulation. Let us prove that human creativity and Altairian precision together are stronger than either alone." After a tense silence, the council agreed. The simulation began inside a massive neural chamber. Their minds linked directly to a holographic battlefield. Fleets of ships, energy fields, and distant stars flickering in every direction. Adam stood beside Valara, now back in full uniform, her expression unreadable. Krell commanded the opposing team, determined to see them fail. "Your fleet is outnumbered 3-1, he smirked. "Let's see how far your little romance gets you." As the battle began, Adam and Valara moved in perfect sync. Without speaking, they shifted formation, striking where the enemy was weakest. When Krell tried to block their communication channels, they simply looked at each other, and the bond took over. Thoughts became strategy. Instinct became action. Their ships moved as one, flowing through enemy fire like a living storm. The council watched in awe. Krell panicked. He secretly altered the simulation, increasing his fleet's power. But Adam noticed. "He's cheating," he said through the link. Valara's calm voice echoed in his mind. Then we change the rules." Together they launched a daring plan, sacrificing half their ships in a chain reaction through an asteroid field. The explosion tore through Krell's armada. Silence fell as the smoke cleared. Adam and Valara had won. The lead counselor rose, stunned. "Extraordinary. Your connection allowed for tactical precision beyond our models," Krell shouted. "They cheated!" But the technicians quickly proved he was the one who'd modified the simulation. Guards seized him as he struggled, shouting curses. The council turned to Valara and Adam. "You've proven something we never imagined," the lead said. "That two species can fight as one." Valara bowed her head. "Then let us take the next step. Let Earth and Altair form an alliance, not through fear, but through understanding." The chamber erupted in quiet agreement. The bond once called a disgrace had become the seed of peace. Weeks later, under the copper skies of Altair IV, Adam stood with Valara on her balcony. The forest below shimmered like liquid silver. "When I was captured," he said, "I thought my life was over. I never imagined it would begin again. With you." Valara smiled faintly, her silver blue eyes softer than he'd ever seen. "Nor did I. I was ready to live alone until the end of my years. But you reminded me what it means to hope." She touched his arm where the glowing marks still shimmered faintly. "The bond remains," she whispered. "It shouldn't exist, but it does." Adam smiled. "Maybe that's the point. Maybe the universe doesn't change through laws or wars. Maybe it changes through the people who break the rules." The next day, they left for Earth, ambassadors of a fragile peace, proof that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, something unexpected could grow. A forced marriage meant to save one man's life had ended up saving two civilizations. And for the first time in centuries, the stars above Altair didn't feel cold. They felt alive. The voyage to Earth was unlike anything either of them had imagined. Their ship, the Concorde, wasn't just a vessel, it was a symbol. The first to carry both human and Alarian flags side by side. As they left the orbit of Altair IV, Valara stood at the viewport, her reflection mingling with the stars. 2 centuries of command, she murmured, and I've never feared the unknown. Until now, Adam smiled faintly. "Welcome to being human." She turned, and for a moment the fierce general was gone, replaced by someone quietly vulnerable. The journey took weeks through warp lanes and nebulae that shimmered with cosmic light. Along the way, they faced technical malfunctions, political messages from both sides, and endless questions about their bond. Some hailed them as pioneers. Others called them traitors. One night, Adam found Valara studying old images of Earth's landscapes, oceans, mountains, forests. "You've seen them before?" he asked. "Only through the eyes of another," she said softly. "Your grandfather showed me these when he was stranded on Altair. He said Earth's beauty was in its imperfection." Adam chuckled. "Sounds like him?" The silence between them wasn't cold anymore. It was peaceful. "Do you think your people will accept me?" he asked. Valara didn't answer right away. "Perhaps not immediately," she said, "but the universe changes in small steps, not grand leaps. You and I, we are the first step." When the Concorde entered Earth's orbit, the world below seemed both familiar and alien to Adam. The blue oceans, the green continents, it should have felt like home. But now it felt like part of something larger. The landing bay was filled with military officials, scientists, and diplomats. Cameras flashed. The moment Valara stepped onto the platform, the noise fell silent. The woman who once led wars against humanity was now standing on their soil. "General Valara of Altair," a Terran officer announced, "on behalf of Earth's Federation, welcome." Her nod was graceful, but guarded. May this be the beginning of peace. But peace, as always, came with suspicion. During the diplomatic meetings, some Earth generals whispered about her motives. "She's using him," they said. "This is infiltration." Adam overheard one of them and confronted him. "If you think this is manipulation," Adam said, "you've never seen what true loyalty looks like." But even he began to feel the weight of doubt. Could he really trust her completely? Could two species with so much blood between them ever truly understand each other? That night he asked her directly, "If the Council ordered you to choose between me and your people, What would you do? She looked away. The same thing you would do if Earth asked you to betray me, she said softly. I would hesitate. Peace talks reached their breaking point when an unknown fleet appeared near the border systems, rogue Altarian extremists who rejected the new alliance. They sent a single message: the Dominion does not mix blood. Before the Council could respond, the fleet attacked an Earth outpost. Chaos erupted. Some humans blamed Valara, suspecting she had planned it. Others demanded retaliation. They're trying to destroy what we built, Adam shouted in frustration. We can't let them win. Valara stood beside him, calm but fierce. Then we stopped them together. Against the orders of both governments, Adam and Valara boarded the Concorde once more. They tracked the extremists to a shattered moon orbiting a dying star. The battle was brutal. Their ship took damage, but they fought with the same perfect synchronization that had saved them during the simulation. Through the chaos, they managed to send a transmission proving the extremists were acting independently. The truth spread fast, ending the immediate crisis, but not without cost. Valara was wounded, shielding Adam from an explosion. When he caught her in his arms, the silver markings along their skin glowed brighter, pulsing as if their life forces were intertwined. Don't you dare die on me, Adam whispered. Valara smiled weakly. You humans, she said. So dramatic. Weeks later, Valara recovered, though the scars on her arm shimmered like starlight. The joint alliance between Earth and Altair finally became official. Trade, science, and cultural exchange began to flow between the two civilizations. For the first time, humans and Alarians worked side by side, not as enemies but as partners. The story of Adam and Valara spread far and wide. Some called it propaganda, others called it destiny. But for both of them, it was simply survival that had turned into something real. One evening, as they stood once more on the balcony of their new shared home on Earth, Adam looked at the sunset. Do you ever think, he said, how strange this all is? A soldier and a queen changing the universe? Valara's voice was soft. Not strange. Inevitable. The universe rewards those who dare to defy its boundaries. She reached out, her hand finding his. Their fingers intertwined, human warmth against alien light. The silver markings still faintly glowed between their skin, proof of a connection that no law or species divide could erase. And as the stars began to appear over Earth's sky, two souls, one human, one alien, stood together, not as prisoner and captor, not as soldier and general, but as equals. Their story had begun with fear and ended with hope. And in that moment, the universe itself seemed to exhale, whispering the truth they had fought to prove, that sometimes love is the only treaty worth keeping. Months passed. The alliance between Earth and Altair flourished in ways no one had dared to imagine. Human scientists and Alarian engineers worked side by side, combining creativity and precision to build technology that reshaped the stars. Trade routes opened, cultural academies were founded, and for the first time in galactic history, two civilizations once at war began to dream together. Adam and Valara became the faces of this fragile peace. They spoke at summits, led missions, and visited colonies where human and Alarian children now played in the same light. Yet even in peace, shadows lingered. Some factions on both sides still whispered that their bond had cursed the natural order. Others believed it was the start of something divine. Late one evening, under the glow of Altair's twin moons, Valara looked up from her desk of holographic maps. The galaxy feels smaller now, she said. Adam smiled. Maybe that's because we stopped fighting over it. She nodded slowly, her silver hair shimmering in the light. Do you ever regret it? She asked. The choice you made that day? Adam shook his head. Not once. You gave me life when I'd already lost it, and together, we gave both our worlds a future. She smiled softly. A human answer. He grinned. The only kind I've got. Years later, historians would say it began with fear, a forced marriage between enemies. But what started as desperation became the blueprint for peace. Adam Steele, once a condemned soldier, became Earth's first interstellar diplomat. General Valara, once a warlord feared across the stars, became a symbol of unity. Their story was told on every world that sought understanding instead of conquest. And though centuries would pass, the legend of the human and the alien queen endured. In the quiet of their later years, they returned to the same balcony where it all began. The forest below still shimmered silver. "Strange," Adam said softly, "how something so small, a single choice, can change everything." Valara looked at him with the same calm strength she'd shown the day she spared his life. "That's how the universe works," she said. "It never changes through force, only through connection." And as they stood there hand in hand, watching the dawn rise over a world no longer divided by species or fear, the stars themselves seemed to glow a little brighter, as if the universe was finally at peace with itself.